Greetings, and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the podcast whose pursuit of the best RPG spans the entire globe. I'm your host, David Lloyd, and this episode I'm excited to hear about all of the great new games that are currently in development that were featured at this year's Australian PAX. Here to give us the inside scoop is the only person on this podcast that's currently allowed to be in Australia, Paige Chamberlain.
What crimes have you committed?
My lawyer has advised me not to discuss it.
What about Casey?
I'm sure they're all in the same boat. Mischief of
Like, why are they not allowed to be in Australia?
I would say the easiest thing is we probably none of us have passports would be the easy answer there.
Well, I'd assume that Casey probably punched a koala at a zoo at some point in his life, but I don't know what Jordan would have done. So
I'm sure Jordan has wrestled a kangaroo at
well,
some
that's
point.
okay though. Kangaroos are kind of pests, depending where you are. You're allowed to eat those, so that's not so bad.
Yeah. That
Although they did get taken out of the latest Tekken games, Roger Jr., which is a bit sad.
All right. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that that kangaroo boxing match meme that's going around, that's probably Jordan. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that the one, because the Tekken games have like the animals that fight, and there's like a kangaroo with boxing gloves. But then there was that video of the guy punching the kangaroo to protect his dog, and that was their reasoning to take the punching kangaroo out.
Oh, really?
And it's like, but we literally have boxing kangaroos on stuff, like on sports things.
Cowards.
Yeah.
Cowards, that's what they are.
Yeah, pandas and bears and stuff. Nah. I'll play that
I don't
game
know. I just
series when they
recently
give me
seen
back
a
the
really
kangaroo.
jacked kangaroo too. I can't even remember where I saw it. I must have been on Twitter. I saw this like for whatever reason. It was just like he was just jacked. Like,
Oh yeah, some of them.
Yeah.
None of the
Yeah.
ones I've seen. I don't know what part it is, but yeah, some of them they got a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to pick a fight with one.
No, it'd be pretty wild to see a kangaroo just hopping down the road, I think.
No, but yeah, I mean, you want to slow down your car a bit in case it decides to come off onto the road.
Yes.
I think most recently I saw one on the train ride back home, and I was like, oh, there's one.
Yeah. Although I'm sure people would say the same thing about me and like moose and deer.
Yeah, well, it's always like, oh, I couldn't go to Australia. There's spiders and snakes and that, and I'm like, America has bears and coyotes and wolves and moose. Yeah, those are terrifying. They're huge, and rabies. Like,
Yeah, that's true too.
yeah, it's like, oh,
I have coyotes running through my backyard almost.
well.
There's I live beside a farm, and the coyotes, you can hear them all the time. I drove past a coyote snacking on a deer on the side of the road, and that was enough for me. I was getting the hell out of there.
Get back to my video games. Nature's too much.
Yes, I want to be behind a door that has like a locking mechanism so that the coyote can't get in. But the deer did get me. Another deer got me on a highway, totaled my car. So they got their eye out for me.
Oh. Thankfully, there was no wildlife at PAX Aus, so
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it looked pretty exciting. I've never been to a PAX. I know Jordan, I think, regularly goes out to the Western one, and I know Casey's been to wherever the Northeastern one is. Boston, I guess it is.
Well, there's America has West and East, I think. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, I think he's also been, they used to have one in Texas, I think, like Southwestern PAX or something.
Yeah, this was my first time going to PAX since 2018.
Cool.
So between that, there was 2 years where they weren't open, and this time I went as media. So I had my little badge say med. So I was like, hey, I'm med. But yeah, so it's one thing that annoys me about cons is like you don't find out what's on until you need to have already gotten your ticket, like especially with the Saturday one that sells out. But I was like, I'll just apply for media because I went as RPG site to look for RPGs there. And I'm like, I'll just apply and see how it go. And then I got it. I'm like, okay, now I've got to get myself to Melbourne and stay there for a few days. So there was one good thing about the media pass was The first day we got an hour early access, but then they had confusion because we went through a different door. And then the next day it's okay, we don't get to go early, but surely we'll go through the same door. Nope. I have to get in the queue with everyone else. So I was like 10 minutes late to one of my appointments, which wasn't, too late. But yeah, it was like, oh my God. Nice communication, really. really.
Yeah.
But because I was media and not content creator, I also got access to a room I could go in and use my. I don't have a laptop, so I bought a foldable keyboard, Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, and that was my laptop
Okay.
to write. So yeah, I went, like I said, for RPG site, and I've done a few previews, and I even did an interview with one after the fact. I wanted to play the game first, so I went there first and foremost to play RPGs, but I did end up playing like a lot of games. I didn't really leave the expo floor for the most part, except to get donuts or something. Yeah, so the first one I actually played was Dark Web Streamer, because there was some where couldn't quite get into contact with them beforehand or that close to beforehand to make appointments. So I just went straight for that one. And this one is like, well, yeah, it's everything's all black and white because it's like a horror game, so it's gone for that look. And you're a streamer, or they call it like a screener. They've got all these game specific terms, but basically, I was comparing it to like if you've played Needy Streamer Overload in terms of like there's this virtual streaming personality and you've got like stats and stuff to deal with, and like another game because it's got web browsing. But the full version of the game is all like almost all proc gen. So like the NPCs you'll talk to, the items you pick up, the web pages, they'll all be like generated based on certain things. So there's no like set way to beat the game because the game itself is supposed to be like an hour long for a successful run. If you don't manage to, I think I just went crazy trying to do stuff. Like I wasn't trying to win. I was just like, just messing
Just causing
around.
chaos.
Yeah. So it's what you have to do is you're buying. So you just click random for a web page, and they'll randomly generate ads. Then it's adding your bookmarks. So you find shops to buy items, like a doll or a box, and you need the items to start a stream. And then you open the stream, and the chat might tell you that there's something behind you, and like you go to investigate, or just things keep happening, or worms come out and bite your fingers. And you well, it's a horror game. You react like it's those parts aren't visualized, like it's mostly text. But yeah, so you've got generally like your health and your sanity is one thing, and you keep streaming, those things kind of go down. But you want to stream at least a bit longer to get your actual donations to progress in the game. But you've also got a lot of other stats too, based on how you react to certain events, like how chill you are, things like that. So there's one where I was just like, oh, well, whatever, and then I rolled some bones to interpret something, and I got like a new trait because there's a bunch of traits. So like, I started out with Trust Fund Kid as one of my 3 traits, and then that meant my money generation was better. And then the whole thing is to get to be the number 1 streamer. So when I ranked up, I would be able to buff one trait, but the other one had to another one had to lose out on stuff, which was a bit annoying because it's like, so you get like this buff for one thing, but the other one you might start getting like a negative in the trait points and stuff. There's the stats, so it's definitely my kind of game. So far, they're just saying sometime 2024. And the lady there, I think I'm not sure how many people are working on some of these games. So I think it's a pretty small team, like one of the main devs. The first day of PAX, I had my daughter with me. So she was very nice and kept her company while I played the game. And I think that was a very popular game. That one always had a nice big line on it. So yeah, and that one is one of the ones I will preview for RPG site. I just only got approval for it, like I'd written the preview, but I only got approval for it like the other day, so it's going to get edited first. Yeah, well, not well. I had to hear back from the dev as well. Some things I want to double check. That was mostly useful with it being 3 days because then there's one game. The next one I played was Grist, and the next day when I was writing the preview, I was able to go back to the dev and just talk to him while other people playing the game.
Oh, that's good.
Because I had need to clarify a few things. So Grist is a game that looks like it's assy, like they're made out of slashes and circles and stuff, like things you could mostly type on a keyboard. But it's actually thing called ANSI to like create the entire look, but it's just meant to look like it is acid, but it's just using a different thing so that he can also make the cool backgrounds and stuff. And that's when when I went back the next day, I'm like, I'm not sure what I would call the backgrounds, and he was saying it was Amiga colored, and I'm like, okay, so then I can put that in there, and then some other stuff I like noted it down, but I was like, I didn't bother putting in the preview, like it was like the BBC computer, because I don't know what you call those things. In my head, there's like, I call them like console computers, because there was this thing, especially in Europe, where there was like the Spectrums and Amigas and all this stuff that I know very little about. But in my head, that's just what I call them. But do you know much about those?
No, like I mean, it looks very Commodore 64 to me. Like I'm just
Yeah, like
looking at the
those kind
trailer
of
now.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like your early '80s PC, or not? They're not even weren't even PCs then. Really,
Yeah.
like Apple
That's what I'm.
II, sort of early computers, I guess would be the.
So I got to, yeah. He said it was, and even in his like descriptions of the game and stuff, he was saying it's like a board game. When I was playing it, I just thought it was more like an RPG combination, but like, other RPGs do originally come from tabletop games and stuff. But I was actually talking to him because he's saying like, things like cards, because when he's programming it, everything is actually a card, which helped him like, conceptualize and make the game, because it's just like when you're playing like a card game and this card has this effect on this thing, sort of thing. Or like their own little checks, because, if this other thing is here, then it triggers this skill. So like it is in that sense like the board game card game. But in terms of gameplay, it was sort of, the story is that you have the plague, so you can't leave your spaceship. So the screen you're looking at is like you're inside the ship on the computer, sending out your crew to do like that you hire to do expeditions to try and find a cure for your plague. And so they were going on an expedition, and the combat to me was more like sort of JRPG. It's like a little bit like grid based, as in they're positioned on a grid for like certain stats and stuff, but like not as in they don't move around necessarily. And
Kind of
just like,
reminds me of like Final Fantasy in a way. Like there's
yeah,
like the one square where you can see the characters, and then the what you can do is in like another little box, and then the stats are in another box. Like it's kind of set up like an NES style
so to me
RPG.
it's more like a party based RPG, because they've all got their different sort of jobs, which is like their classes. And then by default, they're going to do an attack, but then you've got these points, like your trust points, that you can use to unleash a special skill. So then after a bit, I got this engineer guy, and he told me to put him in a specific spot, because, you've got the 3 rows across 3 that they can be deployed in. And you can only put so many guys down anyway based on your stats, but you put him there because his special trick skill is to plop bots down. So then you've got spots to put bots down to also deal more damage. So that part to me was very much, just sort of that normal kind of RPG. But then it's combined with the sort of computer RPG thing we're used to with. So you got a ship, you take on jobs, and then I took on an assassination job, so that increased my affiliation with that particular faction, and I got warmonger points, so that was their morality system. Instead of like good
The
karma,
best kind
bad.
of points.
It's like warmonger, capitalist was the ones that I triggered. I don't know what else there is like to go towards, but so it's. And like the full game said, we'll have more of like a little bit of NPCs, here, like aside from the ones you're just picking up the jobs from. Like when I saw someone go to a space station before, things like that. And there's also an element that I didn't touch, but there's cybernetics as well. And one of the people that played the game, they got an eye thing for their sniper, but it malfunctioned because they got paralyzed, like stunned or something. And when it malfunctioned, it killed the sniper. So, so yeah, you've got these little dangerous cybernetics you can put on your guys, and yeah, it's got little skill checks too. There was a place where there's big rocks, and I could apply one of my party members to open it, or even use the skills to do it, because they sort of regenerate between between battles and stuff, like a little bit. Um, so that seems pretty fun. I know, can't find it, but there was like some other game, because when I showed my friend that, they were like, "Oh, this reminds me of this other thing." Let me get my date added. That might help me. No to do too much stuff. Never mind. Like there's some other assy looking CRPG game that's already out, so I might have to try that one and compare it. But yeah, I'd also do the preview. That one is previewed on RPG site, so you can. I mean, I think I'm pretty much just said what I wrote there. I don't. Maybe it's like slightly neater, but that's pretty much the gist of it. But yeah, it was really neat to be able to go back and like ask questions about the visuals and stuff, and then to see it a bit more, because for me, I was just seeing this rotating background of a certain thing, then to see actual like still ones of like interiors and stuff was good too. War Sim is the one my friend was talking about. Let me have a quick look if it wants to load anytime soon. Yeah, that's very like assy looking, also an RPG. That one's, I think, a little bit more text based though. They do have some of the assy looking pictures, so I'll have a look at that. But this one, yeah, to me, like he was saying cards, like the way he's put it together, but to me, I was sort of like, yeah, JRPG, CRPG, just together. So that'll be really fun. And I think his original intention was like sort of roguelike, like you lose a run, that's it, you gotta start again. But he's saying he's thinking of adding just like checkpoints or something, so for people who just want to, go back to a certain point and like not have to replay the whole game, they should be able to. And that's supposed to be coming to early access, I think, early next year.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
So then that can get, because I think part of the reason he wants to do that is to get feedback on things as well, and not just feel like you're developing something that you're going really hard on one system that nobody cares about or something. Yeah, so those were the first two I played, and then when it comes to the order of other things, I'm not really sure. It was sort of all over the place. The one that I was late for was Broken Roads, which is coming, I think, November 14th, so pretty soon. Mm-hmm. And that was there was several Australian developers at this thing, but this was like one of the few games that was like set in Australia, because it's a classic CRPG set in Western Australia, and in a specific part of Western Australia, because I played the game there, and they were asking about, like, there is a demo on Steam, but this is like the full build, so I got to play with like the Jackaroo origin that you start with before they all converge together, and I got sort of streamlined past the demo point, so that I could see more than like what was in the demo, basically. Because the demo sort of cuts off when your town's under attack, but I got to like see sort of the cutscene bits and the aftermath and what we go and do. Apparently I triggered quite a few bugs though, so he had to like stop me and take pictures, because there was a bit where a guy was doing his sitting animation, but he was like not on his seat, he was away from his seat, and then a bit where my character just kneeled in front of a guy to talk to him, like just went into the kneel animation for no reason. So that was just a funny one.
Oh, the devs should be happy getting free playtest and feedback.
I know that was actually several games I played actually. And then the other thing was just there was like a bit where it's like, oh, there's a crashed plane, and I can't see it because the fog of war didn't go away, and it was supposed to already be unveiled. So I'm very good at finding bugs unintentionally. I don't know, maybe it should be my job, really. Like,
should have got up and said, is this a Bethesda convention, or are you guys just slacking off around here?
I was going to say, they did say, well, I don't think the bug, they're just silly bugs, really. Like, they were... Technically, the guy sitting was a problem, because he still showed up afterwards when he was probably meant to be dead. Like, he was stuck there. He wasn't like, just, like... But that was a bit funny. But the rest weren't so bad. But you should actually say, like, because I just saw Australian RPG, good, I'm so done. Like, don't even, like, I'm looking at the visuals where it's sort of this, it looks like Australian paintings and stuff. I'm like, perfect, I don't need to worry, don't need to know about it until I like go in, and it's like, what do you know? And I'm like, nothing.
I live here, buddy, it's good enough.
Yeah. I'm already sold. But yeah, he said it's like the early Fallout games. Because I was asking, like, what's the, is it turn-based or what? Because some old, I guess old's kind of hard with CRPGs because they go quite old, but like some of the more 2000s, late 90s ones were like semi-real time, but not actually real time. And trying to play it is very confusing to me. because like they're not quite on to, like it's almost like MMO sort of are now, but not quite. It's just I'm just like I can't wrap my head around it sometimes. But no, this is just straight like turn based. Like you don't, there's no timing or like you just, so you've got your movement points and your action points when you're in combat. So I got hit, and then I didn't have enough action points to everything, but I got like 2 crits. So I killed 2 guys just by taking a nasty hit because I was not in cover. Yeah, I got rid of those guys pretty good. So. And yeah, it's that there's the one thing I noticed I mentioned because I played this game and I did an interview. So there's also an interview on RPG site about, there was like, you know how you'd have skill checks to be like, or like it was
like if you're trying to do something
in conversation one, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like if I already am the skill level for it, it just pops up as an option. I don't have to like try for it or something. Like it's already pinged. Like I can just be like, I've got this that I can bring up this conversation topic. And the main thing with theirs is they have an alternate morality system as well, where like I ask a bunch of questions at the start of the game, so it puts you in this thing. So it's like this quadrants of Machiavellianism, utilitarianism, individualism, and I think it's individualism and humanist, and then they're sort of near each other, and then you've got this little radius of where you are within it, so you can sort of pick up, depending if you're being a really good two shoes, you're like not going to have the option to like do other stuff because you're probably going to have shrunk in to that to like, it's like you're molding your personality.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, if you might be like semi-utilitarian Machiavellians, if they're next to each other, you've got this radius to answer within the quadrants, basically. So you'll have the 2 options. But yeah, depending on what you do, it'll focus, or you might start shifting towards another sort of philosophy. So you might move over towards that, and then you won't have the nicer options at all because you've gone to. But it's
Seems
humanist is
fair
sort
though.
of. But that's the humanist is kind of the nice one, but it's also not necessarily the best choice for you. It's
Wouldn't be my first choice, let me tell you.
no. Yeah, you're not nice in RPGs, are you? You horrible,
No,
horrible person.
I do what needs to be done.
Unfortunately, I was too nice in my conversation with the sheep wranglers, so I didn't get to pick another fight. I did want to try the combat a bit more, but I didn't do that. So yeah, I just got like that little bit further, which was nice. And they did the interview, and I asked, more importantly, can you get pissed? And they're like, yes, there's actually like a drunken master skill. And there's like, a lot of beer elements in the game. Because obviously we're in a post-apocalyptic Australian society. That would be the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And what was the other thing? Yeah, the glossary pop-ups was really funny, because you know how in games they'll have like the little glossary in a visual novel or an RPG, and it's like giving you the explanation for the in-world world building. Mm-hmm. They have that for all the Australian slang.
Oh, right.
Like,
some of us might need the definitions of some of these words.
And then they asked about that, and they said, we always wanted to do it from a pure lore perspective, as been done in other games, but with all the Aussie slang, we started adding it to the encyclopedia and glossary, and there's probably more definitions of Australian lingo than explanations of in-game lore.
That's funny.
So, yeah, and I just thought, it was like nearly every sentence was that. So I just got like that little bit further, and that's coming out really soon, so I'm going to be on the review for that. And they also, based on stuff, they said it's only going to be about 25 hours, which is, I think, a good length, but it will have you've got 4 different origins to play as, and then you've got this more quadrant, so you can go through and try to do things, differently. Like, it's got all those, what you do affects, if you choose to save somebody, maybe it'll bite you in the butt or something, like that, Yeah. But it's also good when you've got your other big games to see, like Baldur's Gate 3 or like Zelda, to just have like a nice nice short RPG. I say 25 hours fits into the is that short RPG? I mean,
short enough. I've
played shorter, but those are like, I mean, this is also indie, but those are like little 1 to 2 person indie games where it's like, it's like 10ish, 15ish hours. But in my brain, it's like, if it's under 30, it's short. If it's 30 to like 45, 50, it's medium, and then if it's over 50, it's long.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, it seems like the way they have it set up, where they're kind of encouraging multiple playthroughs, so you wouldn't
Yeah,
like. I think 25 is kind of the max or something like that. Because like if you're expecting someone to play the game 2 or 3 times, like that's like 50 hours is a lot to put into a game.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. And I I was a bit disappointed, not this game, but so when I went to PAX in 2018, it was like there was like Xbox, there was Square Enix, there was Nintendo, da da da. I wasted so much time at the Nintendo booth. Honestly, I didn't do it nearly as much this time. Thankfully, there was the only things that had big lines there. The Nintendo booth was Mario. So I went and did that as soon as my sister came in. We lined up and went for it. And but because I think it was the same thing as like 2018 that had Smash Bros. And because it could be up to 4 people at a time, it like the line was long, but it wasn't as long to get through
yeah.
because more people were being pushed through. And the Pokemon DLC, like the newest one, which we did just to get the pins, but that was sort of like it drops you in a sort of free reign. So someone was just trying to find shinies, even though they can't keep them. They just wanted to see how many they could spot. And I just went through it, but man, people weren't kidding when they said there's a lot of dialogue in that. I'm just like skimming it. It's like, and I think people saying the DLC is level balanced, but like the build they had, obviously, I think were a bit over leveled because I just did the effective moves and one hit knocked out all 3 of the opponent's Pokemon. So I was just like, oh, hi.
Well, then the DLC is not a complete story either, right? Isn't there supposed to be another DLC? Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
the same as the last game where it's like a part 1 and a part 2.
yeah.
Although the last game, I don't know if they really connected in
Oh,
part.
okay.
Like I think, like, cause like I didn't play it. I have recently bought it because I was supposed to do a silly video on it, and I've completely forgotten about it. We just spent like $45 on DLC, but whereas this DLC is like 52 something. I was like,
Oh,
why?
jeez,
Yeah,
it's like buying
it's
buying another game.
it's already more than half the game. Like the last DLC was, and now this is even more than half the game. Plus, I only got Pokemon Violet because I got it for like a steal within like 2 months of it coming out. Like ridiculous, like much like lower than this DLC is costing. So I'm like, I'm not really getting that, at the moment. Like I've bought the other Pokemon DLC to do something and I haven't, so I can worry about that. you know, didn't finish Legends Arceus and I was having a good time with that. I can go to that. I'm good for now. But yeah, we just played that to get the pins, and they had the nice setup with the Mario and the Pokemon DLC had like the lanterns and stuff, really good. And a lot of contract workers, obviously. So that was like one of the things about the exhibition. It's like I don't know, with Nintendo, it's obviously just contract workers mostly, but when some of the displays, it was like, okay, this is just the dev, or it's like there's a few people, so I don't even know if the dev's here or not. Like if it's just uh, contract workers or not, unless I've got the appointment, and say, for example, the main guy I was talking to for Broken Roads is the game director, like one of the 2 game directors, or like the Kuzinea game, which I'll talk about in a minute. I was talking to the CEO of the.
Oh, jeez.
I know, well, because they're like these little like indie teams. So it's like maybe I know that one's like 15 people, but it's like a lot of them were like less than like 20, 20 at the most. So yeah, I'd be getting these CEO business cards, like ooh, fancy, but. And the Nintendo was really fun. And they had a mix of games already out. So Detective Pikachu came out that day on the Friday. So they had that set up and they were giving out these Pikachu hats desperately.
Oh yeah.
Like how much you're getting
I don't
paid to.
imagine they want to have any left over. So
No, they're like, please take it. And mine's already crumpled up. But I got a review code for that on the Saturday, so I didn't touch it there. And they had games that were already out yet. They had a weird shop system. It was like, queue up to get a ticket to come back later to shop. And like the only exclusive thing they had was this T-shirt that I used to want because you can't get it off the Australian store, even though it's in America and Japan, like a Zelda one. But I was just like, I don't want it that bad. You're not gonna sell it on the online store. I don't care. Yeah, it was like if I want anything, I have most of the things I want from that. I'll just pay the extra $8 for postage. I'm not wasting. I'm doing appointments and stuff like that. I can't, or like go and I play like a bit of a tournament things. I can't just cut out of that because now it's my time to come into the shop instead of when I first lined up. it was just like I sort of get it, but it's also just weird. It should just be like, okay, we're gonna have like this time, and we're gonna cut it off, and then you have to come back to the line, and try again later. Just cut off the line like the other shops were doing. And they had a mix of things that were out and a mix of things that weren't out. So they had like on handheld, they had a few, and they had the TVs. And I played Star Ocean 2 because their demo was actually different from the eShop demo, because the eShop demo is the start of the game, 3-hour time limit. This was obviously a little bit after where the demo ends, because you've got a fourth party member. And it was actually free reign, but I was just following like where it put you at the save point and went and did the boss fight. So I knew how to do the spells, but I didn't remember how to switch the characters. So I like exchanged information with the contract worker. Like she was like, "Oh, how do you do the spells?" Because it was a bird, and it was super annoying because I was spamming spells with the characters, but it was like because it's up in the air, I could barely hit it half the time. So, but yeah, I had heaps of revive stuff on the equipment, thankfully, because we were like getting stomped a bit much. So I got it on the second try. But the lady there, she was talking about how someone knew what they were doing, so they just went straight out to the overworld and walked somewhere and then picked up another party member, because this game's been out on PS1 and PSP, so they just went picked up. So like they didn't know what they were doing. Like it was obviously the full build, I guess. So that was fun, and it was good because I still wanted to do a video. I don't know if I will now, because it's like I'm working on a vlog of like I'm going to talk about every game I played at PAX Aus for my YouTube channel. And I've got Detective Pikachu, I've got another game trivia, I've got all this topical stuff, and it's like I don't know if there's any point to doing the Star Ocean one, but because I got to play more of it, I feel like I've got a bit more to say. But it's coming out in like 3 weeks, so pretty like semi soon if I don't get it done. I don't know. But it was good to play that, and they had Prince of Persia, the 2D game. It's coming in January, and I also bugged that one out because I got stuck in the jump animation, and I could do everything but jump, and unfortunately, you need to be able to jump.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And that was like I was doing that before I had an appointment, so I just like left it and went back on the Sunday to actually play it. It's really fun, actually. I wasn't expecting to like it at all. I just watched people playing it, and then I played it, and it's really smooth, which is funny because like the original 2D Prince of Persia's are like clunky, old.
Yeah.
They're
pretty old now though too.
Yeah, very. And whereas this is like, you've got a slide, you've got parry, you've got the super parry, which might get eventually annoying because it does a whole big flashy animation. And there was a bit where I'm like wall jumping to avoid the spikes, and then there was like these like not axes, but I don't like circular things that swinging around that would hit you, and you just have to keep going, or else you're gonna get hit. Although you're more like you got 5 hits, you're not like made out of terribly weak.
Not made out of glass.
No. And then there's like an amulet system as well, where you've got like you can make it. If you parry perfectly, you get a bit of health back, or things like just you can hold like 3 of those on you, so you can customize your playstyle a little bit to that. Get rewarded for what you actually do. And I didn't get super far. I was just I did get guided like a little bit because he's like, you almost had it right, but like you're right next to the thing to open it. But some people have come back and like sped through to get to the boss fight because it's like a timed demo, and I was beating up every guy, but I don't think you need to do that. So, but that was really fun, and now I'm sold on something that I didn't have any intention to get at all. So.
Yeah, it's the last thing you need is to have another game to add to the wish list.
And it's coming out like I already had a game for January. I didn't need another one, because I was like checking the date of it, and I think it was like the same day or the day before the memory. What's it called? I'll find it in like 2 seconds, but I'm just January. Yeah, another code. Sorry. Yeah, date. Yeah, comes out the day before another code recollection. So now I've got 2 January games. I preferred this year and the amiibos, Xenoblade amiibos. I was like, I prefer this year where I only had Fire Emblem Engage, and I could just sit down and play that, and wasn't worried about any other game. But yeah, that was good. They had a huge section of the floor, I think, the Nintendo, because the only other big company was Sega. And I was disappointed because they didn't have Persona 5 Tactica, and it was already covered on RPG site, but I just wanted to play a little bit,
Mhm.
or maybe get like a little pin, because some of the game, some games you get pins for playing the games and stuff. So they had the Like Dragon Gaiden. I didn't play that, but the line for that was pretty big too, wrapping around. And Sonic, so I played a little bit of that. Although the demo was single player only, which was a bit sort of pointed by. So I know it's a multiplayer game. I don't really understand Sonic games, so that didn't sell me on it anymore. But you know, well, I'm just like you. Just it's like you go so fast, you don't know where you're going, you get hit by stuff. So I got to the boss fight and I had no rings, but I still beat it, even though I
Yeah,
couldn't take I
I've
couldn't take a
never
single hit.
understood
But
never understood Sonic games. Like
yeah,
they've never been in my cup of tea, but
and
someone
they
out there
just
likes them.
yeah they just
Europeans mostly.
yeah. Well, yeah, Sega was a thing. Apparently, it was pretty popular in Australia for a while, but they would, and yeah, the same thing. They'd call it Sega, even though the console would say its name for you when you turn it on. But it's still like apparently there was like a Sega theme park in Sydney for like an indoor thing for quite a while.
That's neat.
But no, I was raised Nintendo to the extent that I didn't know they had their own console until I was an adult, and I was like, oh, what do you know? Didn't know. Like one time I touched a Mega Drive and just thought it was a made up, like like those fake consoles or something. Because it was in a game shop where they have retro and new stuff, so they have like the games you can just play. And like it had Sonic on it, but I was just like, I'm seeing like A, B, C, D on the controller. I'm like, what kind of hokey console is this? I just
Yeah, I only saw Genesis like once in my life before the age of 18, I think.
yeah, I was just like, what is this fake thing? But no, it was an actual Mega Drive. So. Yeah, and then there was Indie Presence was huge. So there was like the PAX Rising bit, which is what Dark Web Streamer was in, and then there was like just huge section of just indies. Plus, then there was the Yukio, which was a lot of Southeast Asian devs had come over, and then there was Code, which was a bunch of New Zealand devs had come over. So that was a big percentage of it, which was good to kind of make up for like because Square Enix wasn't here, Xbox wasn't there, PlayStation wasn't there. Which is disappointing because I think I didn't go last year, but I think Square Enix picked up the slack a little bit the year before because they just had a special Zodiac challenge for Final Fantasy XIV, and people would get like T-shirts if they beat it.
Well,
So,
they did
like
have 40 games come out last year.
Yeah, I know they would have had. Or I don't know what they have coming up immediately now to show off. I guess I can't.
Rebirth mostly, I think, is the big
Rebirth.
one.
That would have been
Yeah.
huge, but no, got to do the press events first, I suppose. Yeah, so I went. I don't. Yeah, there was. I played like. I was trying to write down the list for my vlog, and it's like 30 something games. But some of the RPG ones I touched was Blackheart. So it was at the Kiwi booth, and it's top down action game, very narrative focused. Because he said the dev I was talking to, he said it was inspired by Hades, Children of Mortar, and Hyperlight Drifter, but it's not a roguelike. It's there's just checkpoints if you die, and you just keep going through this. You're going through a story, but the action and stuff is inspired by that. And I picked it more like, well, one, it's got that sort of illustrated style to it. But like you go back home to the castle between stuff, and I saw the option to give gifts, and I'm like, oh, so is it like how But I didn't have anything I could give them. It's very specific things, not just any old thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Hades was the first game I thought of when I watched the trailer of that one. Like it immediately is like, oh, these guys must have liked Hades because it's the combat kind of like
there was
looks
a
very
few
much
games
like
I
it.
played where they were talking about like, oh, this is inspired by Hades. So that was interesting. Because that's has people really like that game. And I started off and it was like, oh, I only had like one attack, and so twin sticking at shooting the fireballs. And then I did better with combat when I realized, games where you have sort of the slide or the jumps or something, and it's like you can use that in the combat, not just in. I'm like, oh yeah. So I'm like, man, I keep getting stuck on this guy, and I can't do anything else because I meant to dodge. So I did better than that. Apparently, I was the first one to get to the boss fight, but I think that might have been because I had appointments. So I was like, being focused there to cover it, and someone didn't come up behind me until it was like the boss fight basically. I didn't beat that, although I did cause another bug. It was lagging out like crazy, so they had to just reset it. And then he set me up with some more. I think it was on like running on a laptop, so so he set me up with some of the other abilities that are available at that point. I didn't beat the boss, but I just kept getting hit by the same attack. To be I just feel like, all right, there's this little one I keep not seeing, but it was fun because it was sort of that, having the stripe down AOE's and that having to get into his circle in a certain amount of time and like those sort of mechanics that I'm used to in some like Final Fantasy 14. So that was really fun. So yeah, I was saying because it's a smaller team, obviously I don't think it's gonna like and it's trying to be a single player narrative, so I know it's not going to be quite like Hades level or this level, but it does seem interesting and like so I'll be keeping my eye on it. And it was actually based on his novel that he wrote, and it's sort of because it's about like this dysfunctional royal family, and that no one really likes each other, and there's a certain magic that's forbidden, so of course you immediately like come into contact with and start using it. And but apparently it's like it's like an alternate version of his novel, like it's the characters and the setting, but obviously the game has gone for a different story. And I don't know how much you can change the story yourself, but like you can at least develop relationships with like be nicer to your sister or things like that, so that might change things a little bit. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I don't know quite how far that one is away. I'd probably read it down because I did preview that one, but we'll see. Let me black out. There we go. Q3 of next year.
Okay, so yeah, it's a little ways away.
Yeah. And then one that I've only just gotten my approval to cover is Cuisinier, and that one I hadn't written the review because this is like there was a few warrior cooking games, sort of like action cooking games that were there, although one of them didn't show up, like the schedule changed, so it was annoying. The other one I played was not really an RPG at all. It was just, and this one was like sort of this one where it's like tangentially an RPG. Like when we cover certain like roguelikes and things like that, where you've still got like the stats and levels, but it doesn't really count. Sometimes we cover visual novels, it's sort of But this Cuisinier is a combination, like a hybrid of restauranting, so like as in people pick up their orders and then you're trying to like time manage basically between all of them. And it's like I went back because we're literally on a kitchen timer for that demo, so
Jeez.
I went back to after the dungeoning thing I'll talk about that to just see some more of it, and I didn't build a second table, so it was mostly just people getting. But like say the kid character, he got mad and left earlier than other characters would, and then the old man customer, he was taking really long time to eat and stuff. So I could see that they've got all those sort of details in it. And it was also reminding me a bit of the farming sim aspect because I have to also gather the materials for my furniture to like actually, it's not just money. It's also resources because you go out and it's the top-down action. Yeah, you're hitting chickens with a spatula to get eggs, and like these little chilies that are crawling on the ground to get chilies. And yeah, not as much in the demo, but like from what you can see, like all the trailers, because this is coming out pretty soon too, I think. Let me check. Quiz, I gotta like put the extra I in because it's Cuisinier. On PC, at least, it's coming 10th of November, and then other systems are a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's so I could see from like the trailers and stuff where you're fighting like a giant chili boss or a sheep or stuff, because you're just trying to like get the ingredients and then and resources and come back and then do some restauranting. But it doesn't have to be you can open and close it as you please, so it's just sort of you can do a bunch of dungeon crawling and then come back and do the restauranting to get some money, to generate the income. So to put
it's like
into
the
that.
Moonlighter, but with a restaurant instead of
They said that was an inspiration. I think it was like Hades and Moonlighter, maybe something else. But they're talking about how they used to be they're from Singapore, and they were in the mobile game market. Which I'm trying to get a quote back from him because I don't know if he said it was like a bloodbath or something like that. you know, you know. So this is like their last shot of a game, basically. And their last cancelled game was Cooking Game, and then the other half of the team wanted to do Hades like game, so they were like, let's do let's just do the cooking and the action and like put it together.
Yeah.
Which I think is good because it gives a loop. But you can really see their experience because the graphics, they're so cute. Like the little character, little fox girl is so cute. And everything just looks really nice and colourful. And I said, hopefully, because they're being published by Marvelous, that should help them out a little bit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I heard of it beforehand, was because it's like on their Twitter and stuff. So hopefully that does good, because what I played of it was fun, and yeah, you've got it's good. I think it'll be a good loop together with all those things. On top of the really cute character design, that definitely helps. Yeah, so that one I didn't write any notes for, unfortunately, but I think that's because I was talking to the CEO, so it's just while I was playing. So I gotta write that one up still. But yeah, I'm not sure if I might wait for the Switch version though. But then I don't know if it'll be quite as cute or as run as good. It's hard to tell. And yeah, there was a lot of games I played. Those are the ones that I'll. Such with Nintendo stuff, not. But what I will be up on RPG site. I've got the previews. I've got an interview with Broken Roads. Do you want to read? And the only one game that like was the one game that I didn't want to put down. Like I wanted to keep going once the demo ended. Was the Drifter, and this one's not an RPG. It's point and click, traditional adventure game, basically. And this one once I came back to on the Sunday until I finally played it. And yeah, this one, you hear the voice acting, and I'm like, yep, this is definitely set in Australia. Like, I just heard the guy's voice, and I was like, yep, it's all voice acted, it's pixel art. I've actually played one game by these guys before, because they're Powerhoof, and recently I played their game Crawl on my birthday, because I bought it a while ago and forgot about it. And it's like that game is one of you is the person in the dungeon crawling, and the other people summon the monsters and play as the monsters to attack you, and if they kill you, they get to be the person. And what you're trying to do is level up to get to the boss fight and try and beat the boss when all your friends are trying to stop you to win the game. So, and it's really fun, but I didn't manage, like, you get only a few tries with the boss overall, so I didn't win those other 2 times. And then when my friend did it, she technically was last place because she lost to the boss the final time when the boss went free and destroyed the world, So but then this game, The Drifter, is a classic adventure game, and it's sort of like you're skipping into town on a train to try and meet up with your sister you haven't seen in years because there's a funeral. But when you're trying to like ask the homeless guy how to get off the train, he's like, stop it, we're gonna get killed, we're gonna loop again. He's like freaking out massively. And then when you do finally open it, the homeless guy gets shot to death. And you're trying to escape, get away from those guys, and then you're safe for a little bit, but your phone's flat, so you're trying to, see if someone's got a charger. There's a car, so you're trying to like, you found some gas, you found the keys, things like, just going between the people, talking and getting these items. But then once you've got all the pieces, you end up being tied underwater with a bag over your head. So then you've got this, the precious amount of time to try and save yourself, basically. And then when you fail, you die, and you're back where you were. And it's like part of the game, as in that you died, and you've come back to just before you've died. So that kept looping until I figured out exactly what to do, because I had my inventory still on me, so I had like the gasoline can and stuff, but I needed to put the hose in it, and then it just kept saying I didn't need the hose, but I had to hold the gasoline can before I could use the hose, basically. Like I had to like clutch it. So there's that still like got to get like the precise thing, but he did say that nothing was like too complicated was the point. Like I didn't want to be too easy, but I didn't want to make it like why I don't touch a lot of point and click games is that they do. Unfortunately, this is the one that doesn't have like any set date at all, because they haven't done most of the art and it's all pixel art. So they've still got a lot of work to do on it, which is so I bought a t-shirt of it because I can't get the game.
That'd be an awesome t-shirt because it looks, the pixel art looks incredible. So
well, I'll show you the t-shirt later, but yeah, that was my like probably number 1 pick, and it was like the one I can't play for the longest time. It does have a demo on Steam, but I don't know like if that's the same demo, because that's like from a few years ago. So
okay.
And it might be because like this is one of the demos I played where it had an intermission point. It was like, do you want to keep playing or do you want to let other people play? Because it's built for PAX. But I just kept going. I was like, I want to play this game.
You're gonna have to throw me out of this chair.
Yeah. And yeah, so I just ended up playing like heaps of stuff after that. Especially on the Sunday, I was just walking around like, what haven't I seen? What have I touched already? So I was like playing some stuff like Tavern Keeper. I was having a look at like there was a couple of games that are already out yet, so I like got to talk to them, get more of an idea of the game, pick up stickers, things like that. But yeah, there's one game I also didn't know about. I'll just quickly go into is Karmazoo, and that's just like a 2 to 10 player puzzle platformer game. And so it's two computers next to each other, another two, so it's 4 people playing at a time. And basically, you're not tethered, but if you go like too far away, your bubbles aren't touching, you die, basically. So you got to not get too far away from each other so you can cooperate and work on the game. And that's really fun. I added it to the Steam wish list and I was like, it's on sale. I'm like, what? It's already out, but it's not. It's just like a pre-order 10%, so it's coming out in November.
Yeah, like the 20% off thing if you buy it before it comes out, yeah.
But I want to play that again because the demo is on Steam too, which hopefully it stays because the Steam Mix Fest is on at the moment. It's probably ending today for me, probably like it's inconvenient timing for me because I have so much to do, and I don't know which of these demos are going to go down or like stay.
Yeah, that's
you know, because sometimes I've got some demos in my library that I can't play. It's just like purchase the game, and I'm like, oh, and one of them it's like not even too old of a demo and it's gone. And I'm like, oh, maybe it was like they got rid of it once the game was actually out. I don't know. But yeah, there's like so some of these games I talked about have demos, some don't. And yeah, some of them I don't know if they're going away because I did also wanted to cover Steam Next Game Fest, but I didn't have time to do it when it was actually relevant to people. So it's just going to be me maybe talking about it, and you can't play the game anymore until the game comes out. Yeah. So, but yeah, there will be on my YouTube channel. I'm working on a video of me talking about everything I played. So there'll be a bit more as well besides this. But I did talk about the RPGs and my number one pick and a bit of Nintendo. So
awesome. Yeah, it's even while we've been talking, I've been adding all these games to my wish list on Steam. So my wish list is heavier already. But
yeah, that's happened with me. I've just like some of them. I'm like I might get them on other systems or whatever, but I'm like just put them there to like keep track of them as well.
Well, yeah, I find the Steam one is just the easiest one to track. Like they're always quick to email me when there's something on sale
or if it's available to pay, like if it's come out finally. Yeah, you actually get told about it. So
yeah, yeah,
it's a good way to keep track of games.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then it wasn't a PAX game, but I also reviewed Long Gone Days because I finished that before I went to PAX, but I forgot to write the review before I left because I was just busy packing my bags, basically. I was getting things ready because the first day I dressed up as Fire Princess Peach, so I was working on that beforehand.
Okay.
But that came out. Apparently, it's been in early access and stuff for quite a while, and I did an interview with them as well. So that's also up on RPG site.
Cool. Yeah, I saw that one ahead of time, so it's probably on my wish list too. Even though it is, I think it came out like last week or something like that.
Yeah, the full release.
Yeah.
Although it's kind of good that I guess I didn't play it beforehand because the SP system was originally like the skill points was originally tied to the morale system, which is like you get dialogue choices during boss fights, and then the stuff you'd say during side quests like give you positive and negative, and it was like, oh, I don't think I would have liked my actual skill points being tied to that. Like how much it's already hard enough to come by, like yeah. But yeah, so I had a couple of really good interviews. Like I don't think my questions were like too great, but I got like nice big long answers and stuff, so that's always good to get. It can be funny though because like I've got some of these like devs following me back now, and I'm like, oh, what if I give their game not good enough score? like I like Long Gone Days, I gave like I think a 7 because it was like like the story was like good in terms of character development, but and like respecting the player and like not being too like heavy handed and stuff, but it was still sort of like not like one of the best stories ever. And then the systems weren't quite as complicated as I think the PR was trying to advertise them as. It was more narrative focused, and I had some puzzles, but almost all the puzzles were telling me what to do and things like that. And I think the last 3 indie RPGs I reviewed in a row, I've given a 7. One of which I probably could have gone lower, but it was just like, I don't like the Everhood. I was like, it's me who doesn't like this game up until a certain point. Like, it's more of a me problem. I don't think the game itself is that bad.
Oh, is that Silent Hope?
No, that was a preview. I didn't review that one.
Oh, okay.
But no, the Everhood or whatever, it was advertised to me as like Guitar Hero, and then it wasn't really like Guitar Hero, so I was just not having a good time for about half the game until I could do inputs back when it was anything but just dodging. Then it was a bit better. But I don't think the story was quite as fancy as they, or I don't know. Like, I don't know if they were being like intentionally facetious with like their fancy titles and things like that or not, like the subtitle and things. But it was trying to seem like deep, but it wasn't really that. It was kind of like, yeah, cool.
Hey, you can only score it how you feel.
And then I really like Virgo versus Zodiac. I really liked that, but it's good, but not great. Like, nothing special. Nothing's nothing's really wrong with it. Nothing's really super fantastic. So it's just funny because it's been like 7, 7, 7, 7.
Sounds like a 7 to me.
It's okay because I'm reviewing.
Not great, not bad.
Sorry, I'm reviewing Detective Pikachu Returns, so I think that's going to be a bit lower. And Broken Hearts will be sometime next. I don't have it yet, but that'll probably be a bit higher. So it'll be
yeah, there you go.
So yeah, I've been doing a lot, which is it's good to do.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It sounds like it was a real fun time, and it's giving you all this homework that you've had to do even after the fact too now. So it's
yeah. I did some of the previews on the Saturday, but like none of them were ready until like I could get back onto the CMS. So yeah. And yeah, there's just like I said, there's like the Steam Fest thing. I want to play that, but it'll just have to wait to see which demos let me keep playing because I don't have time right now. But I'm not short of things to write about or videos to make at the moment. So luckily for me, October's not too of a busy month, other than like Mario. So
I was gonna say it's a good time to have that stuff because there's not a whole lot of.
At least for us. I know there is like a lot of games coming this month, but it's like Spider-Man 2 is not on my radar. Other things are not on my,
No, not with me either. Yeah, the October stuff is just not on my radar. Like maybe Star Ocean, but I think that's early November.
Yeah, that's
anyway,
early November.
So,
yeah. But yeah, it's good to go to PAX, and I got to play a heap more than that. I'm not sure if I'll go next year though, just because it's again I've got the my baby's nearly 1 year old very soon, so it should be nearly 2 next time.
Well, it sounds like a big commitment. Like it's a lot of work for a few days, and then it's even more work afterwards.
And then it's like 2 days of travel because the cheapest because like I can get there on an airplane in an hour, but that costs way too much.
Like it's airplane costs.
The domestic, the 1 hour plane flight is just too much.
Yeah.
So I went the bus to the train, and that's like $10 one way. So very cheap, but it also takes up the entire day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
one of these days I'll have to get myself a passport. Hopefully the government will allow me to have one, and then I'll have to head down to PAX East one day.
All right, because you need a passport to get there.
Yeah, I still not. Well, it's funny.
You might not need a visa, but you might need a passport.
Back in my day, we didn't need passports. Thanks 9/11. We were able to cross the border before the terrorist days, willy nilly. I remember I had a hockey tournament in Windsor, and we just felt like going to the Detroit Red Wings game, so we just like crossed the bridge, went through like one of the worst neighborhoods I've ever seen, but watched a pretty fun hockey game, and then just walked right back like it was nothing.
That's funny. During the recent times, I live on a border town of states, and you weren't allowed to cross the state.
Oh, geez.
There's literally a bridge. It's literally step in the river. That's the other state. they didn't really think about all the people that live in water towns when they were doing that policy at all whatsoever, because it was like, okay, well, the nearest town to get for a specialist doctor is 4 hours away, but now you have to go the 6-7 hours away because you've got to be in the same state. Yeah, but I don't know. It's people who make some of these decisions don't really consider, like, they don't conceive of like living any other life than the one they have. It's
Different times, that's for sure.
yeah, but when now PAX and all that stuff's on, I saw a concert actually. So I went a day early to see Ghost. So like, there's so many people like doing concerts in Australia, and it's like I'm finding out too late to get into it. Tickets sold out, or just like not enough time to pay for the travel. Like, for me, it's like I can do travel part cheap, but then it's taken like an entire day or two. Yeah, like it's like after all this stuff, it's like everyone's starting to do things again, and then all the music artists are going crazy. They're just like everyone's coming over here. It's like, oh, and there was like there's a Stardew Valley concert next year, and I'm like, nah, I'm not. I can't move. I did not like being in Melbourne. I was only there for PAX. Like, but yeah, I don't want to
Good
go
to
there
be there
twice
for a
a
short
year.
time, but not a long time.
No, I don't want to go there twice a year. Like, jeez.
Yeah.
And I was there like Wednesday to almost Monday. So yeah.
You got your fill.
Yes, definitely.
Cool.
So
I
yeah.
guess...
I was going to ask, out of the games I talked about, you did say you're adding them to your wish list, but I was like, are you going to get? Do you think you'll get Broken Roads now, or like something like that?
Yes, but yeah, I'll definitely get like the Drifter and Broken Roads were the two that stood out for me. Definitely Broken Roads because I'm really into the CRPGs as of late, and that one looked pretty good. And the morality system kind of reminded me a bit of Disco Elysium because it was kind of funny that way. But yeah, looking forward to that and walking around the post-apocalyptic outback.
Yeah.
Shoot some koalas that have cybernetic implants, hopefully.
I don't think there was much in the way of like cyber technology. I think it's more,
No.
Mad Maxy, where it's just like scraps of stuff.
Yeah, it would still be pretty funny if a gang of koalas had taken over the upper western outback and
I
kind of like Planet of
asked
the Apes style.
I asked an interview because I saw a kangaroo in the game, but I couldn't touch it at all. So I was like, "Do we get to interact with animals at all?" And they were just like, "Yes." They wouldn't say it, but yeah, like there's something at some point. There's probably
you'll get to there'll be a Thunderdome where they put you in a cage with a kangaroo.
Probably.
2 go in, 1 comes out.
Yeah. So yeah, that might potentially be an episode then.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'll pick up that one for sure.
What have we got next on the agenda for the Thirsty Mage?
I know Casey's been playing. Casey just finished Dark Souls. He went back to it. I think it was the PS4 version. I know we years ago when it came out on Switch, we had a kind of a mini episode on it. But he actually played through the whole game, so I know he's looking to talk about that. And also waiting to see what our next 5-hour playthrough is with Death Stranding. So that's a PS Plus game. So I've played mine. I'm throwing Jordan under the bus here because he was supposed to have played it by now. I played my 5 hours, and I can't say anything about it yet. And I hope he plays his soon because I'm going to forget everything that happened. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about that. So we got those coming up, and yeah, I guess we'll see what else after that.
That's good. So just keep an eye on our podcast, unless you're using Google because they're getting rid of Google Podcasts.
Yeah, that's right. Which I do use on my phone, so I'll have to find something else. But
It's have to use Spotify like the rest of us.
yeah, I should just download it. I used to pay for it, but then I started paying for YouTube Music, which is a long story.
Listen to the ads on our own podcast. That'll help us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, we do have subscriptions available on Spotify now, though, so that you can get episodes a week early. So that's another reason to use Spotify if you're not into Patreon and want to get that. But yeah, I guess the other thing we'll just shout out one more time to Paige's PAX coverage. So if hopefully you enjoyed the episode, and if you'd like to get more details, like Paige said, she has a lot of these previews up on RPG Site now.
Yeah,
you can also follow on Twitter, Paige G Guy, because I know you've been tweeting the links to that and some pictures from PAX and stuff. So that was
Yeah.
fun to see too.
And my YouTube channel, Paige Guy, I've got a lot in the works. So
Yeah. So subscribe now, and they'll pop up on your timeline shortly.
yes.
Great. Well, I guess this is a good spot to say goodbye for another episode, but we'll see everyone back soon. Bye.
Bye.